Social media. Most of us use it. You probably have a Facebook page or a Twitter account or something like that. But those posted pictures and those witty tweets could end up getting you in big trouble. And forget about using freedom of speech as some kind of defense. You put it out there on your own, and now you may have to suffer the consequences of TMI. Too much information. Today we're taking an in-depth look at what could cost you a job or even get you sued. Joining me right now, Nicole, Deese, Newlon, an attorney who deals with things like this. All right, got rapid-fire questions first. Do you think people understand the legal consequences of doing what they do on the internet? No, I don't think they understand the breadth of liability that they could be subject to for social networking. Information that's out there. Who does it belong to?
It's public. Everything out there is public knowledge, public information.
So if you put it out there on Facebook or on MySpace or these sites and somebody else reads it, tough luck?
Tough luck.
Why aren't we seeing more cases about people being concerned that their information is being used wrongly?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the reason why. I would just say that I guess a lot of people are just concerned about further publicizing the negativity, maybe as opposed to just letting it go.
Now, when you see the original movie, Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg got into trouble with his girlfriend because he blogged about her in a very derogatory fashion. If you blog something or go on Facebook and say something negative about somebody, what about libel and slander? Do those laws still hold true?
They all still apply.
Well, then why aren't more people suing? Because there's just junk out there on some of these sites.
Absolutely. Again, I think it's one of those things where people feel like the more that they put it out there, hey, you said this about me, I'm going to sue you. Then it becomes a matter of public record in the court system. Somebody catches on to it. And it's not just a matter of a posting on one page that maybe a couple hundred people see. It's now a matter of the online media gets a hold of it and says, hey, there's this lawsuit going on, and now it's many, many, many more people that see it.
Oh, gosh. Okay, now the big issues are, we know this happens for a fact, that some companies are turning down people for employment because they've read what they've written on Facebook. Even if it may not be very inflammatory stuff, it might just be who they're politically associated with. Can they do that and get away with it?
Depends. I mean, I guess they probably can't do it if it's based on an illicit factor. Age, national origin, race, things of that nature that are protected, that have always been protected. Okay. But there's other things that you can refuse to hire people based on. Illegal drug use, things of that nature that may be published on these Facebook pages that people don't realize is out there, and that they can refuse to hire these people.
Now, I know this is hitting college kids hard because college kids were using it originally as it was originally designed to be a college experience,
sure,
and now they're getting caught because they post pictures of themselves drunk. Why would somebody do that?
It's a great question. I think that they always believe that things are safe out there, that if it's password protected or if it's just for their friends, that their friends are the only people that are going to have access to that.
Okay, do you have a legal case if you know for sure a company did not hire you because of something they read on your Facebook?
Depends on what it was that they read. I mean, if they read, again, something about illegal drug use, something that they're allowed to not hire.
But what if it's your political views?
Political views aren't protected. Now, with that said, if they come on your page and they find out that your religion, you have a certain religious belief, and they refuse to hire you based on that, there could potentially be a discrimination claim.
But then you would have to prove they discriminate against you based on that religion.
That's exactly
right. You know, okay, and this is another thing, because I talk to a lot of kids that use this stuff, and I kind of warn them and they go, well, free speech rights, dude. You know, it's free speech. Well, how far does that go?
Not very far with private employers.
Right. So, I mean, they can literally hold something against you because you say it.
That's right.
But government can't.
No, not in public.
Oh, they're not supposed to?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Lastly, images you upload, and what do you think the future is going to be? Are we going to be seeing more lawsuits as a result of some of these abuses of social network?
I absolutely think we are, and definitely by employers or versus employers with respect to conduct by employees on the online market, because you can be, as an employer, held responsible for what employees do both during business hours and off duty.
Oh wow, Nicole, you answered 12 questions in about 3.5 minutes. Great stuff. And it wasn't on Facebook either. Hey, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Now, as Nicole mentioned, more and more employers are checking out those social networking sites before they make a final decision on giving you a job. Those college party pictures really could come back to haunt you. Bay News 9's Roy DeJesus talked with John Challenger from outplacement company Challenger Gray and Christmas about what employers are looking for and why they do it.
On the topic of social media affecting the workplace, I did a Skype interview with John Challenger from Challenger Gray and Christmas. He's the CEO of the well-respected job placement consulting firm. He first addresses the main issue with social media at work.
Well, what's different about having a conversation with a friend of yours by the water cooler and having a conversation through social media is that it's public. Others can see it. It's not a private conversation.
Challenger says more and more hiring managers are looking at those social media postings as they recruit new hires. And in some cases, your life on Facebook could jeopardize your chances for a job. Here he explains why compared to before the social media age.
When you were working, you were working. When you were in your personal life, that was it. But today, that line is really blurred. People work all the time during their personal time, and they certainly get on the social media during their work time if it's not blocked by the company.
He does think, though, that companies should not be in the business of banning social media.
Certainly, you would want to use your social media for business kinds of contacts. Those relationships are what make businesses go. Sort of ban that altogether when that's how people communicate. Certainly one form of how people communicate is short-sighted.
Challenger goes on to say companies are working a compromise these days to be able to allow social media at work with certain guidelines. From the Web Center, I'm BayNews9.com's Roy DeJesus.
Now, of course, there are good sides to social networking. You may have heard the love stories of people meeting online or old friends and family members connecting on Facebook. I spoke with social media expert Julia Gorska about the upside of social media, why it's so addictive, and the unexpected explosion that is social networking. Joining me right now is Julia Gorska, who is kind of like a social networking kind of expert along the way, mostly because why are you an expert? How did you get to be an expert in this? I got to ask.
It really just comes from an interest in telling stories, and years ago looking at sort of downtown redevelopment and seeing, I was working in the midst of it and seeing there was all this stuff going on, but it wasn't on the news.
Yeah.
So I thought, how do you get the stories out that aren't on the news? And that's when I shot my first video and heard of something called YouTube.
Okay, social
networking,
it is addictive, which is why it works. Why is it addictive?
Well, I mean, I remember back to when I first got my first email account. Remember, it was just like addictive. You wanted to see like what was coming in, what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that instant gratification and.
Yeah, instant communication. But doesn't it create kind of a sense of the reality really isn't there because you're just kind of texting out into nowhere?
Yeah. The cyberspace world where everything is floating around now.
Okay, what's the good side of social networking?
Gosh, there's a lot of good sides. I mean, reconnecting. I have actually two friends right now. One is getting married this summer because of reconnecting, and one is moving today to be with her significant other because of reconnecting from Facebook.
Right.
So you've got love stories, you've got old friends reconnected. You can share your professional experience, what you've got going on in your career to help further that.
Yeah, and but some of the old photos that all of a sudden show up. For us in TV, that's a little frightening.
It's a little frightening, too, because I thought I was safe there until my friends started scanning things from, And
okay.
So, yeah, nothing is sacred,
Let's
really.
talk about the bad side. From the movie Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg got into trouble because he blogged about his girlfriend in a very derogatory fashion. It haunted him basically for the rest of his life. That's the bad side. Do people understand the consequences of sharing too much information?
I think some of us do and some of us don't, and I really don't know that it's that different than the pre-internet world, to be quite honest, because it's just a matter of common sense. Some people will say bad things and just blurt them out and not think about it. Of course, now when you blurt them out online, it's published and it's there forever.
Yeah, and I mean that's the problem. That once you've done it, I mean, how many oftentimes do they tell you, if you're angry at somebody, write a letter and throw it away.
Yeah,
but now but now people don't. Now they run away and boom, it's out the window because they don't feel a responsibility for it.
Yeah, and there certainly is responsibility, and there's new accountabilities too.
Okay, where are we going with social networks? Do you think?
Well, one of the places I think we're going is in the corporate world, really needing to take a deeper look at corporate policy around this.
Yeah.
And HR departments getting involved now and saying, what do we need to make sure our employees know to do their job well here and not get in trouble, just kind of like any kind of corporate policy.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about us, when they're talking about our clients, how it all works.
And I'm not old-fashioned, but do people need to know, hey, now I'm going to the bathroom? Hey, now I'm straightening my tie? Hey, now I'm putting on makeup? And yet I see people just like documenting their lives moment by moment. Does it give us a sense of like we are more important than we really are?
Maybe it does. It's a lot easier than getting out a piece of paper and journaling.
Oh,
so you just pull out your mobile and tap it in.
Well, Julia, good luck to you, and you can tweet now if you want to that you had this interview with me.
Thank you.
That's fine with me.
I will do. Thanks, Al.
Of course, you can keep up with breaking news, traffic, and any new developments through Bay News 9's own social networking sites. Check out BayNews9.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. And that's your In-Depth for this Monday, where every day we take a look at the important issues that affect all of us.